Good morning. What a transfer window it's been so far, and there's still 20 days to go. Let's start with one of the stories of the window so far, and of course that concerns Virgil van Dijk. He wants to leave Southampton. They don't want to sell him. He handed in a transfer request on Monday. He's been training away from the first team squad. Southampton in a strong position on this because Van Dijk signed a new 6-year deal just last summer. He won't be involved against Swansea tomorrow though because he has a virus.
My reaction is the same that I said 3 weeks ago. We are expecting him to come back to train with us because we need the player, we need all of them. Hopefully he can change his point of view and because we need the player, we need Virgil is an important player and we need him focusing in our club.
Well, let's talk more with a former Southampton defender, Danny Higginbotham, about a defender in Virgil van Dijk. What's best for Southampton? Sell him now, take the money and have time to replace him?
Yeah, I think so. I think Van Dijk, he doesn't want to be there. I suppose that it depends what the feelings are around the club. Do they believe that they can get him back to the point where he's comfortable and he's happy and he wants to be playing? If no, then the sooner you can find a buyer to take him, then the better, because the last thing that the manager will want is that for it to be going on till August the 31st and all of a sudden, say for example, he's sold on August the 31st. You can't invest that money then until January. By that time you may be in a position that you don't want to be in the league. So for me, the position that he's found himself in, he's handed in the transfer request, he's not happy with the football club, so therefore if he's got to that point and you've got someone that's willing to pay the correct money, the right money, what they believe, then you'd do well. I think the right thing to do would be to sell him.
Right, well, we've got some breaking news now, and it's big breaking news for Liverpool. And Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp, who's giving his news conference now, has confirmed that Philippe Coutinho will not be available for the trip to Watford, but that's due to a back problem. So it's an injury for Philippe Coutinho. That's why he's missing the game against Watford for Liverpool. That's according to Jurgen Klopp, who we will hear from later this hour.
Yes, Philippe Coutinho is not going anywhere. That's the message from Liverpool. They turned down Barcelona's £90 million offer on Wednesday. Manager Jurgen Klopp says he is priceless. The club's American owners have released a short and very strong statement this morning. They say no offers will be considered. He will be a Liverpool player when the window closes at the end of the month. Now, Coutinho is sidelined with a back injury at the moment. He won't play tomorrow. Liverpool, of course, playing Watford. We'll be hearing very, very shortly from Jurgen Klopp on Coutinho's future.
So Coutinho's got a back injury, that's why he's not playing, but regardless of that, how does it affect you when there is such intense transfer speculation on a player when you know you've got to go out and play a game?
I think it's... Listen, I've never been to that point where a club as great as Barcelona won, or you're at a club that's as great as Liverpool. But dependent on Coutinho, really, is that, if it's something that he wants to do, of course it's going to unsettle him. And the club are never going to come out and say, well, yeah, I tell you what, we'll let him go. So whether a club puts out a statement or not saying that we are going to keep him at the football club, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to, because whichever way you want to look at it, money talks in football. And if Coutinho gets to the point, listen, he's not said a word yet. He's not kicked up a fuss or anything, and that's Liverpool will be hoping that stays the way, because, as I said before, Liverpool are building. The stadium's looking fantastic. They've got a great manager in Klopp. The squad's improving all the time, and Coutinho is a key part of that squad. So yes, you do get your head turned in them situations. I would imagine a club like Barcelona coming in, but you would hope that Liverpool will probably turn around to him and say, listen, stay here. Because you know what, we're building here, we're going to be signing more players. And I think that would be the one thing Coutinho would want. If he's going to stay at Liverpool Football Club, he'll want guarantee that there's more players that are coming in that are going to try and take Liverpool to the next level.
I've asked guests this a lot this week, but surely Liverpool, even though it's Barcelona, surely Liverpool are big enough to say, you're staying?
Money talks. It doesn't matter who it is. We've seen players move to clubs that might actually be smaller than the club they're currently at, because people are prepared to pay a lot of money. Barcelona, you look at the top clubs in the Premier League, your top clubs. Liverpool are in that bracket. More often than not, when you leave a club like Liverpool, we've seen it with players. We've seen it with Suarez. Real Madrid and Barcelona would be very difficult clubs for any individual player to turn down. So it's nothing to do with the size of Liverpool as a football club. It might not even be anything to do with their aspirations. It can solely come down to Coutinho and what he wants. And if he wants to go and play for Barcelona, you know, he will hope that he can make it happen. But for Liverpool's point of view and for the Premier League, you don't want him going anywhere because you want him to be part of that football club because he's been a joy to watch.
So that is Coutinho. The other player Barcelona, of course, are trying to sign is Ousmane Dembele, but Borussia Dortmund refusing to be bullied either. They turned down a 90 million offer yesterday. They say that offer does not recognise his exceptional talent and the state of the transfer market at the moment. Now, Dembele didn't show up for training yesterday. He's been fined and suspended. He wants to go to Barcelona. What is the latest on Kylian Mbappe? Another massive deal could be on the cards. Our colleagues at Sky in Italy are reporting that PSG have offered Monaco 155 million euros, but Monaco are asking for 200 million euros. One source is telling us that Mbappe wants to go to PSG instead of Real Madrid. Another source telling us that PSG are not interested in Mbappe at the moment. Now, if he does go to Paris, it will take PSG spending this summer to more than £350 million. UEFA's financial fair play rules could become an issue here. What about this one? This one has been going on all summer and the standoff continues over Gylfi Sigurdsson. Swansea want £50 million. Everton have made an offer which is worth more than £40 million with add-ons. Sigurdsson won't play for Swansea against Southampton tomorrow. Both sides hopeful a compromise deal can be reached soon. Sigurdsson remains Everton's #1 target. Now, staying at Everton, what is going to happen to Ross Barkley? His future is really up in the air. He has 11 months left on his contract. He's refusing to sign a new deal. Chelsea, Spurs interested. They think they can get him for about £25 million. Everton think he's worth double that, £50 million. Barkley is back training, and Everton manager Ronald Koeman says it's possible that he could still be an Everton player this season. Also, staying at Everton, we know they're looking for a striker, very, very interested in Olivier Giroud. According to our colleagues at Sky in Italy, another possibility, another target is Nikola Kalinic. He's likely to leave Fiorentina this summer. AC Milan also interested. He's valued at more than £20 million, and he has played in the Premier League before for Blackburn.
Yeah, loads of transfer news from Everton, isn't there, Danny? Now, they've sold Lukaku, £90 million. They've sold a few squad players as well, Delafeu, Aiden McGeady, a few others. So they've trimmed the squad, but brought in Pickford, Klassen, Sandro, Rooney and Keane. Do you think that they've done the best business of all the Premier League clubs?
If they can get a centre-forward, yes. I think we'd put them up there with Manchester City's in terms of the business that they've done. I think that's the key to it. We've spoken about it earlier. Managers always look at the spine of the team. That's what they've done. You know, Pickford's come in, Keane's come in, Klassen, who's a class act. Pardon the pun. coming from Ajax, and you've got Rooney as well, who's come back to his former club. So there's been some very good business done there. Like I say, Lukaku, obviously they will miss him, and that's why I'm saying I think for them, for it to be an ultimate transfer window for them, I think they've got to go and get a centre forward. You know, that can, I'm not saying they're going to go and get a centre-forward that can do what Lukaku did, but can actually get a few goals for them. Yeah,
Carver was saying, yeah, Kalinic might well be that man. Talking there about Sigurdsson coming in, possibly Barkley going. Who would you prefer in your squad, Sigurdsson or Barkley?
Oh, it's a difficult one because I think there's a fantastic player in Barkley. It's just getting the consistency from him. You look at Sigurdsson, last year was absolutely brilliant. But this is getting to a point now where Swansea are actually wanting the deal to happen because he's been left out of the squad. Clement said he wants it to happen because it's another situation where the longer he's at Swansea, they can't go and spend the money for him. That's the problem that they've got. It's okay saying Everton want to get him. Clement will be thinking to himself, I just want to get this deal done because
on it.
Yeah, I want to get this deal done because then I can go and get 3, 4, 5 players, whatever it is that I get from the money. So Everton want him. Swansea, obviously, you know, they're prepared now to sell him, and you would hope for both clubs and for the player involved as well that they can get the deal done as soon as possible.
Let's go to Stoke City, and they're very close to completing a deal for the Porto defender Bruno Martins-Indi before tomorrow's game at Everton, hopefully. Stoke confident the £7 million deal will go through. Martins-Indi, of course, was on loan at Stoke last season. Crystal Palace also tried to sign him this summer. Now, staying at Stoke City, And Joe Allen is a man who is in demand because Swansea want to sign him, but Stoke have told them he's not for sale. Swansea tried to sign him last summer too, but he moved to Stoke from Liverpool in a £13 million deal. Stoke have confirmed that Swansea have been in touch and they've confirmed he's not for sale. This is what Mark Hughes has to say about the future of Joe Allen and the return of Martin Zindi.
My understanding is that we're very close. I think all being well, he should be with us today at some point, and hopefully we'll get that done. It's been one that's frustrated a lot of people, I think, not least myself, but it's likely to get done now, we feel, unless last minute hitches, but I don't anticipate we will have any. So yeah, I think it's an important one for us to get over the line now.
Joe Allen, Swansea being in with him, we believe. What's the situation there?
My understanding, there was a tentative inquiry, and that was it. We rebuffed that, didn't give it any encouragement whatsoever, and that's where we are with that one.
Not for sale.
Not for sale.
Now, this is a story that's got everyone talking. Danny Rose wants to join either Chelsea or Manchester United before the transfer deadline if Spurs are prepared to let him go. The England left-back says time is running out for him to win trophies and he wants to see more top-class players at Spurs. We'll be hearing from Maurizio Pochettino, Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte later today. Very interesting to hear what they have to say about this.
Well, Danny Higginbotham, let's talk about Danny Rose then. It's interesting. His comments may have upset the fans. They certainly would have upset the board, possibly his manager. But what about his teammates? Because he did say that they're not getting paid what they deserve. So would you welcome that if you believe it to be true?
I think so. I think there may be a few players at the football club that are thinking the same thing but just didn't say it. And that's the problem that you're always going to have. You know, they've always had a certain structure at Tottenham. Now people are saying, well, they can go out. Why don't they go out and get a marquee signing? If you go out and get a marquee signing, say if they were to go and spend 50, 60 million pound on a player, he's going to want 180, 200,000 pound a week. That's all well and good, but you can guarantee the next day, knocking on the door, you're going to have Harry Kane, you're going to have Dele Alli, you're going to have Alderweireld, Dyer,
Danny Rose,
Ericsson. You're going to have them all knocking on the door, Lloris. So that's the problem that Tottenham find themselves in by having this structure that they're sticking to. And the problem was always going to be, I feel that Tottenham have got an unbelievable squad, but when they lose a player, which the other players will see as important, they'll think, OK, well, hang on a second, we're starting to go, not necessarily saying we're going backwards, but we're actually selling one of our better players to a title contender, a domestic contender to us, then, you know, what are we going to do? So I don't think what Danny Rose has done, I don't think it will be an issue with players in the dressing room. I actually think some of them might have been, I'm glad you did that. You know, I'm not necessarily saying they would have done, but it wouldn't surprise me because of the simple fact, you know, it's been well documented that Tottenham are lower payers. Now, people say, yeah, but the money they're... Listen, the money they're earning, that's unbelievable. It's fantastic money, but there will be players and clubs that probably haven't done as well as Tottenham. They'll probably be paying more than that. So there's a frustration from Danny Rose, you know, and I'm sure that he would want more players to come into the football club. And in an ideal world, even from an England perspective, all them players stay together because there's a big nucleus of the England squad there as well.
Well, Transfer Centre continues and will... This is Transfer Centre. Remember to stay across our live blog for all the latest deals. That's on our website and digital devices. And Liverpool released a statement saying that Philippe Coutinho will not be sold. They said no offers will be considered and he will be a Liverpool player when the window closes at the end of the month. And Mauricio Pellegrino insists Southampton's stance over Virgil van Dijk has not changed since the defender handed in a transfer request. Pellegrino says Van Dijk remains an important player and the club expect him to stay. Right. It's been a week since Paris Saint-Germain smashed the transfer record to sign Neymar from Barcelona, but Ligue 1 still haven't received the required paperwork for him to play. The original deadline for the international transfer certificate was to be sent midnight last night, but if it's received before midnight tomorrow night, then the Brazil forward can make his PSG debut against Guingamp on Sunday. Barcelona claim the delay is normal and down to the banks making the £198 million available before the deal is authorised.
OK, we told you yesterday that Manchester United were in talks to give Zlatan Ibrahimovic a new contract. Some developments here. Other clubs are interested. One of those clubs is AC Milan. Sky Italy reporting that they've stepped up their efforts to sign him. Milan, of course, are one of Zlatan's former clubs. They're desperate to sign another striker, even though they've already spent £160 million on players this summer.
Yeah, Danny, so talking there, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you know, clubs obviously wanting him. Is it a shame that he's no longer in the Premier League? And would you like to see him sign for a Premier League club?
He's got this aura about him, this character about him, and he's brilliant. You know, not just on the pitch, but what he brings as well, his interviews and things like that. He's that type of player that Manchester United missed for a long time. The arrogance, but in the best possible way. Your top players have got that arrogance about him, and Manchester United used to have a lot of players like that. They don't have so many, and he brought that last season. So I think obviously the injury when he got it, if he didn't get that injury, I think he'd be at Manchester United again this season. So it is a real shame, but I still think he's got a lot to offer, because you don't even bother with his age, because obviously you've got to see how he comes back from an injury. But him, fitness-wise last year, he was unbelievable.
Could you imagine him at another Premier League club?
No, I don't think I could. You know, there was talk about him even staying at Manchester United, but if not, I couldn't see him in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, he's talk there of AC Milan, but financial fair play is a problem. But he is actually a free he'll be an attractive prospect, even though he will have big wages and no sell-on fee.
Well, it was the same when he came to Manchester United. It was the same, you know, he came on a free...
And it was a successful transfer.
Yeah, he was very successful. And it's not just that, it's what he brings, not just as an individual, but you could see the teammates around him really liked him. You know, the younger players will have learned from him as well. So he's at that stage in his career where he can still offer a lot on the pitch. But in terms of youngsters coming through, the younger players that are playing in the first team, he can offer them a lot of guidance as well. I think there was talk with, I think, LA Galaxy as well, being linked with him as well. So, you know, when he gets himself sorted, he will not be, there's no doubt about it, he won't be short of options. And I think the only question mark before last season was probably a lot of people questioned his age and where he was at, but I could not believe how fit he was, the amount of games that he played, how he was able to still maintain his fitness and what have you, in probably the fastest league in the world. So that's not a concern. So I think it'll be a case of seeing how he comes back from injury.
West Ham, what a window they have had. They bought players like Joe Hart, Javier Hernandez. They're also in talks to sign William Carvalho from Sporting Lisbon. He wants to come to England. He has a £40 million release clause. West Ham think they can get him for a lot less than that. Sporting have Champions League qualifiers coming up against Steaua Bucharest. Any deal may have to wait until those are out of the way. West Ham quietly confident. Carvalho in the past has been heavily linked with Arsenal and Manchester United over the past few summers. Now, what about West Brom? Well, we've been told this week by Gary Megson, their assistant manager, that they want to buy another 5 players this summer. One of those players is Middlesbrough captain Ben Gibson. They've had 2 bids already rejected. Middlesbrough say the defender is not for sale. They're under no pressure to sell at all. But it doesn't look like West Ham are giving up on him just yet.
No, I haven't accepted nothing with Ben Gibson. You know, if we're doing any business with Ben and Middlesbrough, we'll do it through those channels, Rob.
Can I ask you about Gareth Barry, or is it the same answer for that?
Well, it's the same. You know, you go through 22 players and it'll be the same answer. You know, we have to deal with the clubs.
Yeah, so Tony Pulis there talking about transfers. Let's talk about Ben Gibson, who got an England call-up last season. Danny, I want to ask you a bit of a cheeky question to a left-footed centre-back. If Ben Gibson was right-footed, would he be as highly rated? Because some managers are obsessed with having a left-footed centre-back.
It's the one thing, you know, I found that when I was playing it helped me massively, because, you know, the amount of left-footers compared to right-footers, you know, a left-footed player is unique in a way, so to speak, and managers, want that balance. So, yeah, there is an argument to say that, you know, the price might not be that much, but when you look at what players are going for, he was outstanding last season.
I should clarify that he is an excellent player. I'm just wondering if his transfer fee is more because of it.
Quite possibly, because people are always looking for left-sided centre-backs, because a lot of left-sided centre-backs are actually right-footed. So, yes, it's a commodity, but for me, he had an excellent season last year. And he does, you know, I'm sure if he could do, he can command a place in the Premier League. You know, Gary Monk will do everything that he can to keep him, because he's trying to build a squad to get back up. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Now, some clubs do their business late, some like to do it early. Bournemouth, definitely one of the clubs who like to sign players as early as possible. They brought in the 4 players, including Jermaine Defoe and Asmir Begovic, and manager Eddie Howe seems to be happy with what he's got.
No immediate plans. I think I've said in several interviews, regardless of the state of the window, however's long left, we're never totally closed to business, because you just never know when you need to act, depending on what will happen with the players that we have here, as in injuries and things like that. So, but we have no immediate plans to bring anybody in now. You never say never, because you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what's going to happen in the next few days, the next few weeks. So it's fascinating when you're in this seat to react and work. I think you have to have total confidence in your planning and your preparation. I think that's another key point. I don't think you can make snap decisions, because usually if you do, they'll be the wrong ones.
We've got some airlines just in from that Jurgen Klopp news conference, which has been going on. It started at 11 o'clock. We know that Philippe Coutinho is out of the game against Watford. Klopp has confirmed that he'll play a front 3. I mean, he always does anyway. Sadio Mane and Mo Salah will play out wide, so he's given us some information there. He said that he will play with a number 9 up front, but Daniel Sturridge isn't ready, so I don't know whether that means that he sees Firmino as a number 9 or whether he'll play Solanke there. But no real surprise with the front 3 and Mane and Salah starting out wide?
No, definitely not. And Liverpool, very exciting to watch going forward. Their movement, the pace that they've got, the way that they can counter-attack when they get given the opportunity. It's, when you go back to what we were talking about before, the problem is probably the other way, when they have so much possession and then they get caught out. We saw it last season. You know, the likes of Swansea's one that stands out. I think Bournemouth as well. So I think Burnley as well. So that's probably their problem. But going forward, they're excellent.
Do you prefer Mane right footer on the right and Salah left foot on the left, or would you switch them?
It all depends what your fullbacks are like. Maybe that might change a little bit now, because they have got more, well, especially down the left-hand side now, Robertson, and he's naturally left-footed. You've got them attack-minded fullbacks, so sometimes you'll play opposites, so they'll tuck inside and it creates a space for the 2 fullbacks to get into.
OK.